It wasn't super spur of the moment, but it was like the album, I just kind of had a month off last month, so I made this thing and then got it mastered the next week and then gave it to the label. So it was like pretty quick compared to how things usually, like with the last album, they were like, okay, when are you doing your album? We're gonna have guys like in the studio with you, like bugging you the whole time you record. And I was kind of like, oh man, this sucks. But yeah, this time I just kind of did it, didn't tell anybody, then just gave it to them. So yeah, it's easy, pretty quick turnaround this time.
So do you think it was the success, obviously, of Salad Days that gave you that sort of freedom, that they were able to sit back?
This time I just didn't tell them I was doing anything.
Okay.
So if I had, they probably would have been like, okay, well, let's get some press in there, you know, like, oh, get the cameras rolling. But, you know, I just kind of did it. Didn't take very long either, so it kind of just worked out that way.
So do you feel quite far removed from that now, or do you still feel because you've played it so much that it's still there with you, or do you separate yourself?
Pretty removed from it, especially now that I have new songs that I'm like, oh, I just wrote these ones. You know, sometimes I'll like hear a song from Salad Days playing somewhere and I'll be like, what? Like, okay, you know, but yeah, I don't know. And it's been a year, almost, over a year since that one came out, so yeah, it's been a while. I kind of have forgotten about it. Although I play those songs every day on tour.
And the touring is pretty relentless. Like, how do you keep up? You must be so knackered all the time.
I don't know how I do it.
Yeah.
Usually throughout the day, I am like totally screwed, but then I'm okay during the show for some reason. And then I can party in the night and then just feel crappy all the next day, so.
And then do it all over again, again and again and again. And obviously tonight we're here in Vancouver, which is amazing because it's partly home for you as well. So does that add a special kind of significance to it? Is that one of the reasons why I guess that announcement was even made yesterday, that you had these shows this weekend?
Well, I mean, it's like any other show except I got tons of friends here because I lived here for 3 years or something, so yeah, it's good to be home. But it'll be cool.
And with the new material as well, in terms of moving on, like we just said, that you are sort of a little bit removed from Salad Days now at this point, but do you look back on the old music and make comparisons, or like, are you one for progression? Do you always kind of think of your music as progression, or is it kind of like, no, this is just something new, there's no point in comparing anything?
Well, I think that's the thing for me, especially, is even older music like that I was doing before I was using my own name or whatever. I always try and keep all of that and, like, you know, continue sharing it or whatever, because I think it's for me at least, it's like I can look back at an EP or like an album from like 5-6 years ago and be like, oh, I remember where I did that, I remember, you know. And it's not like I would never feel like, oh, I'm so ashamed of this, like, ooh, I don't like the way that sounds. Like, it's just kind of like just another page in the book or whatever. So yeah, I think especially with the new one, it's like, maybe it's good that that it took me a year to write another one, because then I'm not constantly comparing it to Salad Days or to Two or whatever. Because when you start doing that, that's when you go completely insane.
Well, when do you know when you're done? Because especially if you're working on your own, how do you know that you've reached that point where a song is finished and you can actually kind of just let it go?
I don't know. The songs come together, so I have them written before I go to record them, so I know when that kind of thing is done. The whole, like, as an album, that's the part where it's kind of like, because you get a very specific feeling where you're like, oh, it's done, you know? And luckily on the last 3 things I've done, I've gotten to that point just, you know, by fluke, and been like, oh, feels done now. I don't know. But yeah, there's like always a period before I get to that point where it's kind of like, oh God, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to write 4 or 5 more songs. I don't know what to do, you know? Yeah. But then you get there and you're totally good to go.
Because it's good, because it means that you know what's good as well. You know when you write something and you know it's good. So do you remember one of the first songs you ever wrote that you went, that's good, even when you were younger? Or
I remember writing these songs under the old band name Makeup Videotape, and it was like 3 of the very first songs. It was probably 3 of the first songs I ever like wrote seriously that weren't like joke band songs or whatever. But I remember I recorded them in my garage by myself, ran them through my tape deck. They're all fuzzy and sounding. But I remember listening to them and I was like, yeah, I'm going to put these on the internet. It's pretty cool, man.
There's a fascination with you and your life and all that sort of stuff. Your fans are very kind of interested in everything, and that even translates to your mum as well. She's become such a phenomenon with them. Is that something you kind of just were like, what's going on here?
It's gotten so crazy, like out of hand now. It's very confusing, but it's like, it's cool. I mean, if the kids want to talk to her, she wants to talk to them, apparently, so works for me, you know, and then I don't have to talk to them, so I can do my own thing, so it's fine.
Exactly, you don't have to worry about that at all. Yeah. And would she be someone that kind of, when you were growing up, would have had a huge influence on the music you were listening to? And
yeah, definitely when I like started getting more into like buying CDs and listening to, like, I got into like classic rock or whatever, and there were a couple bands where she's like, don't listen to AC/DC, like try this like Beatles record instead. I was like, okay. But no, yeah, she showed me all kinds of stuff. We used to go like rent Frank Zappa movies and like watch them together and stuff. So yeah, she's a cool mom.
She does follow you on tour sometimes, doesn't she? Or is she?
Well, she came that tour you were talking about with Royal Blood, the Laneway tour. The festival brought her along as the official MC. So
Crazy.
So she'd like go out before a bunch of bands and be like, "All right," you know. It's like, and she's never done anything like that before, and she's never been outside of North America before. So it was like. It was cool for her, I think.
I'd say there was a lot of people that were probably like, we've seen Agnes, we can go home now.
Yeah, people were stoked too. She was meeting all these people. It was crazy, yeah.
Is there any nerves with the new material at all? Are you feeling any nerves at all? Or do you feel like you've kind of proved yourself now and nobody has to?
No, I'm actually not nervous at all. I'm just excited for it to come out. I'm excited to play the songs. I had a really good time writing it. Like compared to Salad Days, I had a good time, but it was like a lot of pressure and stress. And even though I tried to be like, no, it's okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
But this one was just like I was at home in my new house, like relaxing, just writing. Write a song today. Oh, no problem. Oh, I got 8 songs. Okay, there you go.
I'm done. Because you say your new house, you've moved to New York, so was that kind of like a new headspace? Did you kind of feel like you had to give yourself new surroundings to create something?
Yeah, well, but when I did Salad Days, I was living in Brooklyn, and it was like a really crazy environment, really small room, like a lot of people living in the place. And now I live out near the beach in Far Rockaway, and it's just very mellow, no phone service, don't have to see anybody if I don't want to. So it's kind of nice, yeah.